Hello and welcome. If this is your first time listening to the podcast, this is a part two. So this is not going to be, and if this is your first time of listening, you're catching us midway in a set of discussions. We're having a three-part series on how to deal with general poor performance. That's if you are a salesperson, you sell on behalf of someone else. So if you are an employee and you have an orga, and your guy is holding you to certain standards that you have to sell X amount every single month or X number of customers, and you're suffering with general poor performance, these are the sorts of things that we are dealing with now. So, if this is your first time listening to the podcast, after you're done listening to this, go and listen to the episode that came immediately before this so that you will get the fuller picture, the background. Now, the guy that we're talking about, we're going to call him Fresh Prince. And of course, that's not his real name. So, excuse me. So, Fresh Prince sells roofing sheets, Abi? Yeah, sells roofing sheets for his employer in Lagos. He's been having general poor performance, and he's been dealing with one troublesome client in particular. So, this set of three, this is episode, Abi? This is part two. After part two, there's going to be a part three. The reason why I broke it up into a three-part series is so that we don't take up too much time with any one episode per se. So in the last episode, we looked at some of the things that we can use to diagnose why people are performing poorly in sales, why you're not selling well. And some of the things we looked through yesterday were perhaps you're not selling well because you're targeting the wrong people. You're not talking to the right. You're not talking to the right prospects. You're not talking to quality people. So if you're talking to people and those people are not quality, you understand what I'm saying? In the Nigerian context, when you say that this is a quality guy, this is a quality babe, it means that the person is interested. The person has money. It's something that the person wants right now. They're ready to take action, and the person can indeed take action and transfer the money at the end of the day. So that's what we mean when we're talking about quality people. So if you're not talking to quality people, you can't get a quality deal at the end of the day. Then we also spoke about other skills that are necessary to move the deal forward, like advancements. Advancements just means you're able to get the person to take the next step. Both of you agree on what the next step is going to be. And we also looked at different kinds of conversation frameworks that you will need to help sell or move the business relationship forward. Because at the end of the day, selling is relationship and selling is conversation. So you have to be good at both. And you can't be good at either if you don't have a framework that is guiding you through. So those are some of the things that we looked at yesterday. But yesterday's episode was a long one, I think close to 50 minutes. So after listening to this, go listen to that and you get caught up to speed. Okay, so like we said yesterday now, Fresh Prince. The guy hasn't closed a deal in 3 months. Now, the question now becomes, is that bad in itself? Because you started work for someone else, you haven't closed the deal in 3 months. Does that mean it's a bad thing? The answer is, it depends. It depends on the typical sales cycle. The sales cycle is just the length of time between, oh boy, how far? Good morning, sir. Blah, blah, blah. And the person now transfers you money. Anything in between, good morning, sir, do you have this available? How much? And then the person transfers money. That is called the sales cycle. So I have a Bluetooth keyboard that I'm using with this phone right now. The sales cycle for the length of the Bluetooth keyboard is very short. You enter into the shop, you say, oh boy, how far now? I say, I did. I bet you get one keyboard where I define. Say, hey, which kind of keyboard? I don't know, Sha, because, it look like this, I want to use them, with my phone, blah, blah, blah. I say, oh, you mean this kind of keyboard? This kind of keyboard. How much? 20K. 20K on top keyboard. Blah, 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 blah. Back and forth. Well, if you don't like this one, you get this Chinko one. See this one here, 7.5. 7.5. Well, give me for 6K. 6K, blah, blah. I'll go back and forth. Shall you give the person 5K? In that case, sales cycle is 5 minutes, because the gap between oh boy how far and you transfer 5K was just 5 minutes. That's the sales cycle for Bluetooth keyboard. Now the sales cycle for a car is different. Good morning, I'm looking for Toyota Corolla something something. So, okay, well, we don't have this, but we have this one. Oh, let me see. Is it accidented? Is it Belgium? Is it America? Is it whatever? Okay, how much? Maybe like this. Okay. At the come. Then the person will go. Then the person will come back again. Maybe next week. This time he will come with maybe his brother or his wife. And then they'll look at the car again. Babe, this was the car I was showing you something, something, something. Say, we can do test drive. Sure, now, no problem. Then you enter, you do test drive, we'll come back. And the person will say, I'm interested. This price that you called, is too expensive, but you know what? Let me come back with my mechanic. They will go. Then the guy will come back again with the mechanic. But long and short is, if you want to buy a Bluetooth keyboard, sales cycle, 5 minutes, max. Okay, maybe 10, 20 minutes for people who like to price. If you want to buy a car, sales cycle could be 2 weeks, could be 3 weeks. So the length of time between good morning, sir, somebody sliding into your DM, somebody walking into your shop, somebody sending you an email, somebody responding to your advertising campaign, the gap between that and when they transfer the money, that is what we call sales cycle. So whether you close a deal in 3 months, whether it's good or bad, depends on your sales cycle. If you're selling something and the normal sales cycle is 2 years, the fact that you've not closed a deal in 3 months, it doesn't mean anything. I hope you guys are following me. If normally it takes 2 years to close this kind of deal and then it's 3 months, you haven't closed anything, okay, why are you worrying? Why are you fear? You're anxious. Okay, let's see if there's any reason for your anxiety. It normally takes 2 years to close these kind of deals. So in 3 months, maybe you're not supposed to be shaking like that. So not closing a deal in itself in 3 months is not necessarily a bad sign. But the reason why I'm bringing this up is because lots of Nigerian employers don't look at things this way. You bring somebody in, let's say it's a real estate firm, and let's say for that particular real estate firm, their sales cycle are typically maybe like 8 months before they sell a plot of land. But then, 2 months in, you're shouting at the sales staff that he hasn't closed any deal. Realistically speaking, realistically speaking, if your sales cycle is usually 8 to 9 months, why are you shouting at the guy for not closing any deal in 2 months? You should be having the conversation, okay, young man, yes, sales cycles are typically 8 months, but in month 2, we expect to see certain signs of progress. We expect to see certain kinds of meetings booked. We expect to see a certain number of site visits. We expect to see a number of this, a number of that. So you as the employer, you as the founder, you as the business owner, you should know your sales cycle. Then you should also know the key metrics. What do they call the KPIs? The key performance indicators. The kind of things that you expect to see in people who close deals. And then you hold the person to that. So if a sales deal takes 8-9 months to close, and then for most people who close deals, maybe like 8 or 9 months, usually let's say by month 2, you expect that they would have done maybe like 10 site visits. And then there's somebody in the office who has only done 1 site visit in 2 months. Okay. Then there's room for quarrel. Because you can now see that, okay, this guy know they match up. He know they keep up. By this stage, you would have expected that he would have done 10 site visits. But he has only done 1. Okay, now there's a problem. But whether you close in 3 months, whether that's a good thing or a bad thing, it depends on the typical sales cycle. So the sales cycle is going to depend on a number of factors. It's going to depend on the industry. It's going to depend on the skill set of the person. What else? The different conventions that you have at the time. So on and on and on. So it depends. Really, it depends. Because like in the West, for instance, let's say like in America and in the UK, there are people who enter a car shop today and they will buy a car today. But that's UK. In Nigeria, that is not going to happen. Nobody is going to go to a car lot today and look at the car for the first time today and then transfer money in full today. So things are different. In America, it happens. Somebody walks in today, the person will walk out with a brand new car today. In Nigeria, we're not there yet. So sales cycle for closing a car in America, different. Sales cycle for closing car sales in Nigeria, different. Maybe the sales cycle for closing a car sales a car sale in Ethiopia or Australia, maybe it might be different. Also, it depends. But 3 months doesn't necessarily mean that it's a bad thing. I need to have a conversation with you to try and figure out like what's going on, what's the typical sales cycle. So I did some fooling around online, and it looks like in this part of the world, again, remember, I did some fooling around online. So please go and verify these figures for yourself if you're in the roofing industry. Because I am not the professional when it comes to roofing. I'm just the professional when it comes to sales, closing deals, moving things forward. Okay, so it looks like when it comes to residential buildings, you know, one man, you want to put a roof on your house. It looks as if roofing deals can be closed, in anything between 2 to 6 weeks. And when I saw it, I was like, yeah, I think that kind of makes sense. Because like for Momsi's house, when they were building Momsi's house, because we didn't trust the quality of materials in Makudi, where Momsi lives, we bought the materials here in Abuja. And, I'm here in Abuja. So I went to Builders Market myself. And yeah, it was about 2 weeks. I went, I met a couple of people, made a few phone calls, did small research, blah, blah, blah. 2, 3 weeks later, the roofing sheets were in Makudi so that we can use on Momsi's house. So I think that sounds about correct. So if you're selling roofing sheets and you're selling in the residential sector, you haven't sold anything in 3 months, then yeah, there is a serious problem. Because on a normal, the deal should be closing anything between 2 to 6 weeks. So if you're selling residential, which is normally 2 to 6 weeks, you haven't sold in 3 months, or more, there's a serious problem. So yesterday's episode now becomes more important. Let us start looking. Are you talking to the right people? Are you talking to quality people? Okay, you're talking to quality people. Do you know how to gain advancements? Do you know how to move the conversation forward? Do you know how to build rapport? Do you know how to build credibility? Do you have any conversation framework? Abi, every time you go, you're just chatting with them freestyle. Do you know how to close? We need to start looking at some fundamental issues. We now need to figure out that, okay, this is supposed to close 6 weeks max, but meanwhile, 3 months, we've not seen anything. Oh, yeah, let us start figuring out what is going on. Then, from what I found online, it looks like when it comes to large scale commercial, it's anything between 3 to 6 months. And I think that kind of makes sense. Like if somebody is building a small estate or something, you will shop around, you want to get some prices, you make that one a bid, a high, down, how will I put it now? Like you make it like a high volume bid, you try and play 2 or 3 contractors off of each other. So I think 3 to 6 months, yeah, maybe sounds just about right. So in that case, if you're selling large scale commercial products, you haven't closed the deal in 3 months, yeah, it may be a bad thing, it might not be a bad thing. If you haven't closed in 3 months, and let's say in that 3 months, you haven't even done plenty site inspections or plenty visits, people haven't even come into the office, okay, yeah, in that case, then there's a problem. Because it's been 3 months, we've not even seen any activity as if you're even doing something to try and sell. So in that case, there may be a problem. Then, for government contracts, I wasn't able to find the time, but we're in Nigeria, and you know how things can be in Nigeria. In fact, I was talking to someone who is in the NGO space, and he's trying to secure an MOU with a government department. MOU, Memorandum of Understanding. They're supposed to organize a festival of youth and something in Abuja, and then they started this process a while ago. But you know that now everybody is in election fever, so it's as if the project now just hang, the thing just hook. Are we going forward? Well, we don't know. Are we going backward? We don't know, because the politics is in the air. So, then they wait, okay, primary, this thing, president to be here, party chairman, this, that. So all these things have just slowed the thing down. So I'll be surprised if it's a government contract, then for roofing sheets, maybe a government building project or something, I'll be surprised if, it can take 1 year or 2 years or whatever, because these things happen. First of all, you will do appreciation, in quote, if you know what I mean. You see people, you have to kiss ass up and down, you have to show appreciation. And then anyway, so if it's government contract, bottom line, what I'm just trying to say is, it depends. Are you selling residential? Are you selling large scale commercial? Or are you selling roof sheets to government projects? That will determine whether closing in 3 months is good or closing in 3 months is bad. But there's one thing that lots of Nigerian business people, business owners, salespeople don't pay attention to. When I say, right, that the way you sell is the distinguishing factor, because lots of people try to distinguish themselves, first of all, by price. Let me be the cheapest or whatever. And then some people try to distinguish themselves by packaging. Let my website be fine, let my dressing be good, let me speak with honor, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, all of that is important. Price and packaging is important. But people forget that the way you sell in itself also is a distinguishing factor. The way you sell will set you apart as a professional above other people. Let me explain. I keep on talking about, and I mentioned in the last episode, how you need to do need analysis or qualification or discovery. How you go about doing your need analysis can set you apart as a professional and can make people trust you. So, for someone who is in the roofing sheet space, you should be using your diagnostic process to build trust. The way you diagnose the whole thing, the way you try and figure out who is this person, what kind of roofing sheets do they need, what kind of problems do you have, the very way you go about diagnosing the problem should build trust. For instance, how will I do this? For instance, okay, since it's roofing sheets now, you need to know angle of elevation. You need to know square meter this, square meter that. You need to know all these sorts of things. Now, there are some people, like when I went looking for roofing sheets, there are some people who just said that Momsi can just send is it survey plan or something? Then they will now use the survey plan and then gauge, and then rely on that to give a quote. Then there are some other people who will say, you know what, survey plan, like, how will I put it? When you're trying to build, the architect will design something, but then when you start building, things change. So sometimes, especially in Nigeria, what you have on the architect sheet or on the survey plan or whatever does not fully match the final something. Because like even Momsi's house was the same thing. We started building, and then after a while, you know what, these rooms are too small, do them like this, do them like that, and then things change. So there's some people who insist that let me go and see the building and let me do actual measurements for myself, so that don't be any go come. That once we agree, we negotiate, and I send over the roofing sheets, it is exactly what it is that you need. The guy we ended up going with eventually, of course, since the building is in Makudi, he asked for the layout. He asked for all those paper things, as in send it so that he can look and then do his own calculation. But then he also said, snap picture, let me see. When he saw the picture, he said, no, this thing, it can't be correct. I don't know how. Maybe it's because, after a while, building people just get an eye for certain things. So once he saw the picture, I said, no, this thing is not correct. So using his eye, he was able to make an estimate of the, square meter and all those fancy things that you roofing people do. And then he now told Momsi that, okay, Momsi, Shebi, you have somebody on ground, engineer. Okay, when next engineer come, tell engineer to please confirm if these my specifications are correct. An engineer confirmed, and we saw that they were correct. But the guy still advised that, sometimes accident can happen. Somebody will cut the roofing sheet the wrong way, and so you might need extra. And so he said, because of that, we should build in a what's it called? How do I put it now? Like margin of error, so you get extra sheets. And then it turns out that was good advice, because just like the guy advised, some accidents did happen, some things were caught wrongly, and so you needed new sheets to finish up the whole thing. But see, my point is this: because of the way, when I was talking with the guy, this roofing sheet person, because of the way he was handling himself, we could tell, me and my siblings and Momsi, we could tell that we are dealing with a professional. This guy, as in, he's not just vendor. Like, this one is a professional from the very way he was conducting himself during the process, from the very way he was doing the needs analysis. What's the measurement of the house? What is this? What is the elevation? Okay, which kind? Is it long span? Abi, we're doing step tile. Abi, we're doing stone coating. What is the difference? The difference is this, that. What are you trying? Like, from the way we were having, you could tell that this guy was a professional, and that kind of thing. In instilled the feeling of trust in us that, okay, we're dealing with a knowledgeable somebody here. So it doesn't matter what you sell: roofing sheets, architectural services, business consulting services, you run a startup or whatever. Your process of how you try and diagnose whether your customer has a problem or what it is they're trying to achieve, your very process should instill confidence in people. These are the things you do that instill trust in the customer. These are the things that make people want to continue talking to you. Sorry, one moment. My attention is required. Making today's recording at home. Let me just answer the door and I'll be right back. Okay, sorry about that. I just needed to attend to something briefly. Okay, so I think I was in the middle of talking about how your diagnostic process, when you're trying to do need analysis, when you're trying to figure out what people want, because if you remember, before we started talking about Fresh Prince, again, not his real name, before we started talking about Fresh Prince, we were talking about Cinderella, who is a salesperson who sells solar and inverter solutions. The very way that you talk to people, you're trying to figure out what they want, trying to figure out what they need, trying to figure out what the problem is, something that can build trust with people. So if you're one of those people who sells roofing sheets and you want to go to site yourself to get accurate actual measurements before you deliver a quote or a proposal or whatever, by the time you climb up, you look around, you check is it called carcass, all that wooden frame that you use before you put the roof. By the time you go up there, you check the carcass and you say, bros, this is your carcass. You didn't get K leg here, get K leg here, get K leg here. As in, before we put this kind of stone coated roof tile, because stone coated is heavy, with this carcass, it can't support the weight. You need to fix this, you need to fix that. By the time you point out one or two things like that, they'll say, correct. We're dealing with a very knowledgeable somebody here. If somebody wants to replace the roofs, instead of just saying it is 2,500 naira per square inch or whatever, but you actually start asking questions. Oh, the one that you had before, was it long pan? Was it step tile? Was it stone coated? And what happened? What was the problem? Oh, leak. Yeah, because of what? Okay, let me see the carcass. Okay, let me see this. Let me see that. Okay, look, based on this, I think this was the problem. If you don't fix this problem, even if you buy from me now, the problem will occur again in another 3 years. So, bros, you need to fix this, you need to fix this, you need to fix this before you have this sort of thing. So, if you show up, you're trying to do your need analysis, you're looking out for structural issues and, things like that. You're asking questions. Okay, you're replacing roofing sheets. Okay, why are you replacing them? What went wrong with them in the first place? Or, how will I put it? Yeah, exactly. You're trying to figure out what even went wrong in the first place that makes you need these roofing sheets, and then you're even giving them tips about, oh, this is how you extend the lifespan of your roof, whether you're doing maintenance schedule or something like that. Those of you who sell roofing sheets, you will understand. But for the rest of you, I hope you're getting the gist of what it is that I'm trying to say. There's a way that you carry yourself when you're on site, when you're talking to people, that will show that you are the subject matter expert. And when people can see that you're the expert, that you know what's up, then people will be calm and people will have a conversation with you. So, yes, we can position ourselves, by packaging. So, yes, dress well. Yes, speak with honor. Yes, spray perfume. And yes, borrow your father's Mercedes Benz and drive on site so that when they see you, they say, now you're a big boy. Yes, do all that. But know that the very way that you're trying to diagnose the problem, the way you're trying to do need analysis, the way you're trying to make a recommendation, you should have a framework and a process for that sets you apart from other people. Because remember, this guy that we bought roofing sheets from, other people just said they should snap architectural plan. I can't remember if it was a snap. Was it that we should snap? Maybe we should scan or something and just send. But one person took it a step beyond. The person said, okay, well, let me see. But you will are based in Makudi. Whether you buy from me or not, there's going to be expense that is involved in transporting this thing down from Abuja to Benue State. So therefore, we need to make sure that we get this thing right. So send me the architectural something. Then also go and snap the house. Front elevation, snap. Side elevation, snap. This elevation, snap. And then the guy looked at it and said, this thing is not correct. Me, I was impressed. I was impressed as hell that somebody can just look at picture on the phone and say this measurement is not correct from looking at picture alone. The guy said, how many bedroom? I told him, he said, and then this information you're giving me is not correct. Brought out calculator, did bang, 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 bang. He said, I think this should be the whatever. Please tell Momsi that, is there anybody there that can confirm? He said, yes, engineer is coming on Thursday. Okay. Tell engineer to confirm whether this thing is correct. If it's correct, then on Thursday, let's continue the conversation. Engineer talks, and then the thing was even correct. I mean, come on. Given that situation, won't you feel like, okay, yeah, this person I'm talking to, he knows what he's doing. Anyway, let me move on. There's also another thing that I want to point out. That's for those of you who are in this kind of business, selling roofing sheets and stuff like that. There's a couple of things that you guys don't do or you're not aware of, but if you try, it'll make your job a whole lot easier. Now, one of those things is called referral looping. Looping in this sense now just means gather. Like we'll just gather everything together, gather it in one bunch. Now, the idea behind referral looping is this. Now, for those of us who live in Abuja, where people are building estates all the time, you will understand what I mean. Roofing usually happens in development clusters. So, like there are different parts of Abuja that are opening up right now. Like even in Lagos itself, like is it Lekki? No, not Lekki. What's it called? Not Banana Island. Anyway, you get what I'm sure you understand what I'm saying. Estates are being built all over the place. Now, because those estates are being built all over the place and they are being built roughly at the same time, when one person wants to do roofing sheet, most likely there will be 3 or 4 other people who are at the same stage in that estate who also need roofing sheet. So there's a way that you can come to do roofing sheet for one house in the estate. But if you play your game well, you can do referral looping. Referral looping just means you gather. You ask this guy, oh, this is your neighbor that is building here. That do you know him? Oh, yes. I say, I beg now. May I talk to the guy now? As I'm here now on site, at least I'll be able to do that. Let me do his own as well. You ask. You never know. He might give you the person's number. And, from there, referral looping. Just they gather everything. Okay, I've entered the estate. I'm on one person's roof now. And other houses that are around in the vicinity. May I gather them? Let's see how we can just gather. So, you look for development clusters, building estates, stuff like that, and you're trying to do referral looping. You enter based on one person. You try and gather all the referrals. Oh, let me have this person's phone number. Let me have this person's phone number. Or you just stroll on site. You see that the foreman is there. You say, Oga foreman, Oga engineer, how now? Say, well done. This is your house. If I know. Say, okay. Oh, I don't finish decking. Okay, so now roofing now remain now, Abby. So okay, I'm working on that house over there now. We're the ones that you see that one, that stone coating there. Yes, that red one. You see, I see fine, Abby, and my work be that. And then that's how you do. You start the conversation. Referral looping. You're trying to gather everything. Then, in America, I think in the solar industry, I think I heard it in solar industry, people talking about T selling. Now, this is the idea behind T selling. Just imagine a letter T, capital letter T. So this is scope that they do when they do T selling. Let's say you're working on house number, how will I say it now? Okay, let's say there's a street now. On that street, the houses are on the left and on the right. And on the left, you have houses from number 1 to 5. On the right, you have houses from number 1 to 5. And let's say you're working at house 3. What you do is, before you start work on house 3, you will go to house 2, which is on the left. And then you will knock on the door. And then you tell the person that, morning, sir, I am working in house 3. So no vex. I just wanted to let you know that we are going to start work tomorrow. So I'm very sorry. There's going to be some noise. There's going to be some whatever. So I just wanted to let you know ahead of time. But, if there's anything that we can do to make this thing more pleasant, just let us know while we're here. Also, just to be security conscious. That's also the reason why I'm coming to let you know. So anyway, here's my business card. Just lay hold of it. So I'm here. I'm on site. If you need us for anything, just let me know. That is house two. You now leave house two. Remember, you're working on house three. Then you now go to house four. Sorry, Abby, three. Yes, you now go to house four, which is on the right hand side. Mhm. And you have the same conversation with the person who owns the house. Hey, hello, we're just in the neighborhood. Your neighbor in house three has hired us to do the roofing. Sorry, just trying to let you know ahead of time. We're going to be here tomorrow. There's going to be a bunch of noise. We'll try our best to work as quietly as possible. But, just in case of anything, let me know. Anyway, here's my business card. Sorry, just wanted to be polite, just to let you know. Also, nowadays now security consciousness, so at least, you can see my face. So if you see any of the boys there, you see my face, don't worry, they are my people. Uh-huh. So you've had that conversation now. You're working on house three. They paid you to work on house three, but you have that conversation with people in house two. You have the conversation with people in house four. Then you will now go opposite the road, directly opposite the road to house. Let me see. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, opposite now. So opposite house three will now be house 8. You will now have that conversation with the people in house 8 again. It will be the same thing. Hello, good morning, sir. Your neighbor just hired us, blah, 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 blah. Oh, I was just trying to be polite. Oh, also security conscious. I beg no vex in case you make noise and this and that and that. Just in case one of my boys mistakenly park and block your gate or something, I beg, organo vex. Here's my business card. If there's anything, just call me. If any of the boys are being a nuisance, just call me, blah, 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 blah. Conversation, just leave. This is the scope. You came to do work in house 3, but you're doing tea selling. So you moved one house to the left. You introduce yourself. You move one house to the right. You introduce yourself. You move one house down. You introduce yourself. In that case, it's reasonable for you to do that, Abi. Is it not? You're also trying to set yourself apart as a professional. Is it not? But most importantly, by the time you finish the work in house 3, now that they know your face, you can actually go back to house 2 and say, oh, we're done, we're leaving. But just in case you don't mind, our business, we have a policy. We give free roofing inspections. Let me just, if you don't mind, we're here with the ladder. Let me just hop up on the roof, look. We can just do a brief assessment just to let you know the state of your roof, whether it's healthy and everything and all whatnot. I hope you don't mind. Of course, some people will say no. No problem. They say no, no Allah. Then you go to house 4. That's the house to the right. And then you have that same conversation again. Okay, we're done. There's no problem. I'll be sorry for disturbing you and everything. No. Oh, by the way, since we're already here, since the boys are here, since the ladder is here, how far now? Let's just do free roofing inspection now. Abi, do you have any leaks? If you have any leak, it's not a problem. So we have some material that's left over. If it's just minor roofing leak, we'll just patch the leak for you. That kind of thing. So from doing tea selling, talking to somebody on the left, talking to somebody on the right, talking to the person opposite. By the time you climb their roof, you give them estimate. If they have roofing leak, you fix it there. You can say, oh, by the way, sir, you remember I gave you my business card. You still have it. Oh, you lost it. Okay, here's my business card again. If you ever need repairs on your roof, this is your number. Just give me a call. I'll attend to you myself personally. Or if you know somebody who needs needs a roofing sheet, just give me a call. You see, that is tea selling. You've entered the neighborhood. You're working on one house. Move to the left, move to the right, and then move opposite. More people to talk to. Every single time you get into any neighborhood, you just be doing it like that. Any estate you work in, you do it like that. If you're doing large-scale commercial, because like in Abuja, we have industrial estates not far from where we are. So if you enter into an industrial estate, maybe, let's say like maybe Thermocool is doing their warehouse, and you're the one that is supplying the estate for Thermocool, it's not a problem. You start work on Thermocool. But then if you look to the left and you see that there's Elizade Plaza where they manufacture, assemble and maintain Toyota Hilux and all those kind of things, it's not a problem for you to leave Thermocool. You just move to the left. You enter. And they say, oh, that you want to speak to the manager. You say, oh, why? Is there any problem? You say, no, we are the ones that are doing roofing project over there, over at Thermocool. We just want to introduce ourselves. As Nigeria is nowadays, security reasons now, everything. So just so that you will know that, it's us, and also, security reasons. I say, may I just show face, and then, just in case of anything. That's why I say, let me just see the manager. If you put it like that, security guy will say, oh, okay, no problem. Manager is not around now. Manager will be there by 2. No problem. You come back by 2 o'clock, and then you try again. Eventually, maybe you see the manager, and then you see how these conversations happen. So that later on, in Elizade Plaza or Elizade whatever, if they need roofing sheet later on, the manager will remember, okay, there was this time when blah 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 blah. He can go and start checking his drawer. Where is this person's card? Where's this person's card? Where's this person's card? Then they call you. So these are some things. Now, for those of you who are in the roofing industry in Nigeria, these are some things that they do in other parts of the world that you can copy. Referral looping. If you enter the estate, you look around, you will see that this person that hired you, if they are at decking stage and they want to move to roofing, I bet you there are other people in the estate who are at that level too. When you're on the roof, look around. Okay, this house, this house, this house, this house. Tomorrow you come early, you go around. You look for the engineer, you look for the foreman, you start talking. That's how you get some business. Then for residential, you do T selling. Move to the left, move to the right. There are lots of people that can do it, but who don't. Like, take for instance, DSTV installation is something that you can do. You are installing, DSTV installation, that's not a good idea because everybody has DSTV. What will I say now? Okay, let's say solar. Yeah, let's say solar. You come, you're installing solar for this man here. It's not a bad idea. You move to the left. Hello, good morning. Is madam around? Oh, no problem. We are the contractors who are installing solar over here. And of course, we're going to be making some noise. There'll be some strange people, stuff like that. Just security reasons. I just say, let me come, and I just want people in the estate just to, know my face now I'm around. And then plus, just in case my boys are being a nuisance, anything like that. You get to speak to madam, and it's the same spiel. Madam, here's my card. By the time you're finishing, it's not a bad idea. Say, okay, madam, we finished. Sorry, I hope the noise was not too much. We didn't disturb you. None of my boys destroyed any of your property. Okay, no problem. Madam, I was noticing you don't have solar. Your neighbor just did solar now. So, madam, how far? You can start conversations that way. Then, another thing, this whole thing of not closing a sale in 3 months. It also depends on the time of the year for some industries, because some industries are seasonal. Now, I know this because my friend, one of my friends in Lagos, one of my very good friends, Michael Okuda, that was back when I was a teenager. His momsy started off business, I think first. No, not his momsy. I think it was his popsy. He started off business selling paint. That's the first time I realized that some industries are seasonal. Is it rainy season? Is it dry season? These things depend on some of the things that determine whether market will be good or not. So, if you're in a roofing space, you haven't sold anything in 3 months, your business is seasonal. You also have to ask yourself, okay, at what part of this up and down cycle of seasonality, at what part are we in right now? So, from what I found online, again, I'm not a roofing expert, but I think there's some truth to this because I remember when we were roofing Momsy's house. If it is rainy season, you can't do work. I repeat, if it is rainy season, you can't do work. Because if you create the carcass, that is the wooden frame and everything in rainy season, the rain will touch the wood. When the sun comes out, the wood will start to bend. And you can't be putting roofing sheets on a carcass that is already bending. So, for Momsy, we had to wait. I think we had to wait until dry season to do the roofing. So now, in that case, I suspect that, okay, you've not sold in 3 months. But if the 3 months we're talking about were inside the rainy season, then what are you talking? It stands to reason that since you're in rainy season, when nobody is putting up roof, of course, it will be hard for you to sell. If it is dry season, on the other hand, then you've not sold in 3 months. Okay, now we need to start looking. And this is the reason why I say we need to do a consultation. Is your targeting right? Are you building the relationship well? Are you able to establish authority and credibility? Are you able to build advancements? Can you move people move them along from one step to another? What kind of conversation frameworks are you using when you're talking to people? How do you do your diagnostics? Does your diagnostic process help to instill trust with the people? What kind of closing techniques are you using? Have you heard of closing techniques at all? We need to start breaking down exactly what it is that is going on. So you see why I said yesterday that for some of you who ask, I'm not closing sales for the last 3 months, I'm not closing sales for the last 4 months, blah, blah, blah. It's not just that I'm trying to collect money from you. Yes, I am trying to collect money from you. How the hell do you think I pay my bills? So yes, I'm trying to collect money from you. But also, honestly speaking, for some kind of business problems, we actually need to sit down and figure out, okay, pause first. Let's try and figure out what's going on. And like any doctor, it's when you know what is going on that you now prescribe the remedy. I need to know what's going on first. Is it malaria? Okay, we'll prescribe this. Is it typhoid? We'll prescribe this. It's the same approach. We need to figure out what it is that is going on. So, for those of you who are like Fresh Prince, you're in roofing sales, these are some of the things that are going on. And this is the reason why, even though I like to answer one question for free for everybody else, this honestly is one of the reasons why, for some of you, I can't just say, oh, do this, do that. Like, it depends. I need to figure out what it is that is going on. So, let me stop here. It's another 41 minutes. So, that is the part 2. We're going to move on to a part 3. I'll see if I can do that. I'll see if I can do it tonight or maybe tomorrow. But part 3, essentially, we're going to deal with this guy. This guy is a troublesome client. And the reason why I wanted to address this one is because this kind of troublesome client, it's not just Fresh Prince. Again, remember, not his name. It's not just Fresh Prince who is dealing with this troublesome client. Half of you who are listening to the podcast now, I know that you have dealt with this kind of troublesome client before. If you haven't dealt with them before, maybe you're new in business, don't worry. You will come across this kind of client. In the next podcast episode now, we'll explore that when we meet this kind of troublesome person, what's the way forward? So, with that podcast episode, we'll now bring this to an end. That's using Fresh Prince. Again, not his real name, using Fresh Prince as a case study. But I'm hoping that the other people who are in roofing sales, who are listening right now, and who are being blessed by what we're talking about, even if you're not in roofing sales, you do something else, house related. You're doing solar, you're doing DSTV installation, you're doing painting, you're doing, scaffolding sales, or, you sell scaffolding equipment or whatever, or you do borehole drilling or whatever your business. I'm hoping that you've heard some things that you can apply to your business today, and that's going to make a difference in your business today. So please remember, as you listen to this podcast, as you subscribe and as you continue to listen, even though the case study that we talk about will be involving another person's business, there are always principles that I can apply to your own business. So don't be listening to a podcast episode, whether it is my own or any other podcast episode. So because today I'm talking about roofing sheet, don't say, roofing sheet doesn't apply to me. Even if you are an accountant, there are some things that I've said today concerning roofing sheet that an accountant will be able to apply. Let's say like this tea selling, for instance. Nothing stops you, an accountant. You go to go and visit your client, you enter into this building, nothing stops you from doing tea selling. You come out of your building, maybe your client is escorting you, you say, oh, these people over here, so and so, oh, those are your neighbors. I say, oh yes, do you happen to know the owner? Oh yeah, me, he's a good friend. I say, oh, I'd appreciate an introduction. There's nothing that stops you from doing that. That is tea selling. You go inside your client's office, you have the meeting. On your way out, you look at another business, you're like, okay, these people make nice clients. You ask. If the guy knows, he knows. If he's willing to introduce, he's willing to introduce. And if he introduces, you never know. You move to the left, you move to the right, you move opposite. You never know. But of course, you do it in a classy way, because you can't be an accountant, you dress in your nice suit, and then you now behave as if you're, how will I put it? Sure, you can do it in a classy way. So, no matter what it is you do, there are things that I've spoken about today that can apply to your business. So that is the mind frame that you should be using when you listen to this podcast or listen to any other podcast. Okay, this podcast is for people who are brain surgeons. Okay, no problem. But it's a business podcast. Are there any principles that brain surgeons are using to improve their business. Okay, these are the principles. Can I apply those principles to my business? That's the mind frame. I mean, the mindset I should use to listen to these sorts of things. So if you'd love to connect with me, like Fresh Prince, again, not his real name. If you want to connect with me like Fresh Prince, just call me. Send me a text message or a WhatsApp message on 080-6466-2140. If you want me to audit any of your business processes, then you contact me on the same number, 080-6466-2140. Or if you want to join my WhatsApp channel, then you send me a message on the same number. And I hope you're looking forward to the third and final episode where we will help the Fresh Prince deal with problematic clients, especially those problematic clients especially the problematic clients who keep saying you're too expensive. So that's what we're going to do at the next episode. So thanks for your time and attention. I'll catch you some other time.